picking up an Oscar recently for his performance in Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's constant departures on the set may have worked out for the better. The director of the film, Todd Phillips, mentioned in an interview about Phoenix's regular walk-offs. In the middle of a scene, Phoenix may just walk away without saying a word. According to Phillips, the other actors took it personally. They assumed that they had done something to upset the Joker thespian. However, Phillips said Phoenix always left due to his own performance. He was either unhappy with his current acting, or he wasn't in the right headspace to deliver the scene.
Cher, really? She's a singer, actor, dancer, fashion icon. How is that insult?
Yet if Phoenix was shooting a scene with Robert De Niro, he didn't react in that fashion. He controlled his feet and continued working. Perhaps Phoenix was worried what De Niro would think of him if he kept leaving. De Niro can be pretty intimidating. We've all seen Meet the Fockers. 2013's This Is the End had a whole host of celebrity cameos. After all, it's a film about actors surviving an apocalypse. After her stint in the Harry Potter franchise had come to an end, getting Emma Watson involved in the film was quite the coup. In her scene, we see her rob the main characters after a misunderstanding. However, she was meant to be in a later scene as well, the scene which involved the crazy Danny McBride and his pet dog, Channing Tatum. However, Watson was very disturbed by the events going on. Most of it was probably down to the outfit Tatum was wearing. Well, that and McBride's newfound appetite, so she walked off and refused to be in the scene. On top of that, Tatum, while dressed in the gimp suit, attempted to dance just for Watson beforehand in just a thong. Yep, can't say we blame Watson here. In 1994, the vampire genre was revived with Interview with a Vampire. While Tom Cruise had a mostly biting time, the same couldn't be said for Brad Pitt. In fact, he was looking for a way out of the film. He hated wearing the yellow contact lenses on top of the over-the-top costume. Once production was moved to London, Pitt was done. He felt like he was in constant darkness for 6 months in the English capital. According to our London-based member on the team, Pitt's not incorrect. In 2003, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle was released. However, Bill Murray, as Bosley, was missing from the sequel to the 2000 film. There are a couple of reasons why Murray wasn't included, according to reports. Firstly, he told Lucy Liu that she couldn't act. He mentioned to Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz why he understood why their talents brought them here, but he had no idea why Liu was in the film. This so enraged the actor that Liu apparently swung a punch at Murray. The second reason is from the director of the two films, the strangely named McG. According to McG, Murray headbutted him on set during the original film. When Murray was later asked about this in an interview, he strongly denied this, but then stated that McG deserved much worse with a lance. Wow, with all that drama, Murray refused to return for Full Throttle. In 2007, the world was forced to witness Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. While we struggled with understanding why Galactus was a space cloud, one of the actors hated making the FF sequel. Jessica Alba was playing the Invisible Woman, Susan Storm. In 2012, in an interview with Sci-Fi, Alba discussed her issues with the film's director, Tim Story. During an emotional scene, Alba was meant to cry, so she did. However, Story would critique Alba's performance. He asked her to look prettier, and her crying was too real and painful. Then he asked her to keep her face flat in the scene so they could add in CGI tears later. Alba felt dejected and dehumanized by Story's demands. This experience made Alba want to leave the acting world for good. However, she had second thoughts and stayed in the business she loves.
It's kind of a dream come true to actually be in a video game.
Sometimes, actors like to branch out and see what directing a film is like. In 2008, Bruce Willis was set for his debut to direct 3 stories about Joan. If you're confused when hearing the title, there's a good reason why you haven't heard of it. It was never made. As filming was due to get started, Willis walked off the set and never returned. As a result, a group of companies that financed Willis's film sued him and his production company for breach of contract for the sum of $4 million. However, Willis countersued. He stated that the financiers never put in the full amount of cash that they were meant to. In 2010, all the lawsuits were dropped. To paraphrase John McClane, Sir Ian McKellen is a legend in the thespian world. So, when he was going to wear the costume of Gandalf in 2012, he was happy to dwell with hobbits once again. However, since McKellen's stint on Lord of the Rings, technology has moved on. Due to this, McKellen had to act in front of a green screen. He got into acting work to work with other people, not be alone and yell at imaginary beings. The director, Peter Jackson, soon noticed McKellen's unhappiness. He and the crew put together a Gandalf Appreciation Day to cheer up the iconic wizard. It worked well, as he remained in the franchise. Michelle Rodriguez got her big acting break in 2001's The Fast and the Furious, and she was so excited to get the part that she barely read the script. Yet, once she did, she had an issue. In the original script, she was playing a character that would be involved in a love triangle. It didn't didn't sit right with Rodriguez. She didn't think that it made sense for her character Letty to cheat. Rodriguez refused to entertain the idea, but the love triangle plot was intertwined throughout the whole script. It took a lot of negotiation and discussions, but eventually, the filmmakers agreed with Rodriguez's assessment. It worked out well since she's now a mainstay in the franchise. James Cameron, he can be a bit of a perfectionist sometimes. It's a statement that the cast of 1989's Oscar-winning film The Abyss can agree with. One scene involved Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Master-Antonio. It was the moment where Harris is performing CPR on Master-Antonio. There's a lot of screaming, slapping, and intense chest compressions going on, yet Cameron wasn't happy. Over and over, he got the cast to redo the scene. After a while, Master-Antonio had enough. She stormed off and yelled, "We're not animals!" She refused to come back to the set for quite some time. Also, during the film's production, Harris almost drowned. He apparently punched Cameron for putting him in that situation. Cameron should probably work on his people skills. Actors can have a reputation for being divas or being difficult to work with. They can make all sorts of demands. Well, 12-year-old Val Kilmer didn't help that stereotype in the slightest. The future Batman and Top Gun thespian was shooting an advert for hamburgers. As filming began, Kilmer questioned his character's motivations. All he had to do was eat burgers and be happy about it. Only Kilmer wasn't a fan of hamburgers. He refused to pretend to enjoy them for the video. 12-year-old Kilmer didn't seem to know what acting was, so he stormed off set and never returned. On the plus side, Kilmer would later have a Bowling for Soup song named after him in 2006, so that's something, right? In 2010, Nicole Laporte released a book. The massive title for it was The Men Who Would Be King, an almost epic tale of moguls, movies, and a company called DreamWorks. Yeah, wow. In the book, Laporte details issues on the set of 2000's Gladiator. Apparently, Russell Crowe was a problem actor. He apparently threatened and later assaulted a producer. Crowe also stormed off set many times for various reasons. Even the iconic "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius" line was a problem for Crowe. It took many takes to convince the Aussie actor that it should be included. However, Crowe said he's such a great actor that he can make anything amazing. In a short response, Crowe has stated in a tweet that the book's accounts were wrong and fabricated. At least we think that's what he said. After decrypting the tweet, the message was mostly jumbled nonsense. The Walking Dead TV series can get pretty gross. In the third series of the hit show, Laurie's baby is coming. Only the prison is dealing with zombies rampaging through it. Carl, Laurie, and Maggie are stuck in a room far away from anyone else. So Maggie has to perform a cesarean to save the baby. When the actor of Maggie, Lauren Cohan, read the script, she was done. However, she soon realized that if the scene is developing this kind of reaction from her, then she has to do it. So we got to see the grisly and sad scene. But at least Judith was fine, huh? Silver linings. Even for a show as legendary as Star Trek, the actors can still cause drama for each other for nearly 50 years. George Takei and William Shatner have had a feud brewing. In Takei's autobiography, he accused Shatner of disrupting production regularly. He claimed Shatner had a massive ego. If we're taking that infamous Star Trek fight scene in consideration, Kirk should probably let others lead. Even in 1994, the Star Trek team were together to celebrate the ailing James Scotty Doohan. Shatner refused to go on stage with everyone for a final goodbye, according to Takei. Over the years, Shatner has stated that Takei is wrong, and he's always had an issue with Shatner. Picard and Janeway never caused drama like this. Rocky IV introduced a new challenger for Sylvester Stallone's Balboa, Dolph Lundgren's Ivan Drago. So, they needed a character to highlight Drago's power and motivate Balboa in the 1985 film. Up steps Carl Weathers' Apollo Creed. The cocky American got hammered by the Russian in the boxing match, but behind the scenes, the filming of that match wasn't too smooth. Lundgren got a little too much into the character of the frightening boxer. He threw Weathers across the ring. Weathers, now furious, immediately left the set and went home. Production had to be halted for 4 days with Weathers missing in action. Eventually, Stallone managed to convince Weathers to return, but Lundgren had to be extra careful from now on. No more method acting and getting a little OTT with Weathers again. 1962's remake, Mutiny on the Bounty, was nominated for 7 Oscars altogether. It's easy to think that it was a blast for the actors to make. Nope. Many of the actors staged a mutiny from within. Marlon Brando apparently annoyed many people. He would show up late to film, be rude to everyone, along with other issues. Richard Harris and Trevor Howard hated working with him. When Brando was chatting to some local women, he let the cast and crew wait around in the sweltering sun. Howard was furious and left the set for a period. Later on in the shoot, Harris returned the favor by being disrespectful to Brando. As a result, Brando left the set as well. 1974's Chinatown helped catapult the careers of Faye Dunaway and Jack Nicholson. Yet Dunaway has little love for the noir film. Her and the controversial director Roman Polanski clashed regularly. As Dunaway was having her makeup done, Polanski came in and berated the work. He wanted Dunaway's skin to be paler. Polanski grabbed some powder and smeared it all over Dunaway's face. Horrified, Dunaway couldn't believe what happened. She swore at Polanski before she left the set. There's also a rumor that Polanski refused to let Dunaway use the bathroom, so she used a cup on set and threw the content at Polanski's face.
Don't ever say that to me again the way you said it yesterday, because I'll be back with more than water.
Nowadays, Dan Harmon is known as the creator behind Rick and Morty. Yet before then, he created the sitcom Community. As the series progressed, all of a sudden, Chevy Chase's character, Pierce Hawthorne, was gone. It turns out, Chase had a knack for annoying Harmon. According to Harmon, there was a tear-jerking scene involving Chase that would be great to finish off a series. However, Chase decided to go home instead, but this was meant to be the last scene of the series. They couldn't redo the filming around Chase's schedule like they usually do. The set was taken down as soon as Chase wandered off for this scene, so it was cut from the episode. Shortly after, Chase left the show permanently. There's arguably no weirder working relationship in cinema than that of director Werner Herzog and actor Klaus Kinski. While they worked together many times, they also fell out many times. It was very much a love-hate thing. Herzog has even admitted to planning to set fire to Kinski's house at one point. Their relationship would be especially rocky during the filming for 1972's Aguirre, Wrath of God. During proceedings, Kinski threatened to quit the project. Instead of de-escalating the situation and finding a solution, Herzog pulled out a firearm. He threatened to use it on Kinski, then himself, if the actor didn't stay and finish the film like he was meant to.
The birds are in misery. I don't think they sing, they just screech in pain.
Herzog knew the authorities would mark their demise as a hunting accident, so with that in mind, Kinski finished the film. Can't say we blame him there. Lindsay Lohan doesn't have the greatest reputation in Hollywood. She can be unpredictable and tends to do her own thing. So when Lohan was cast in 2013's The Canyons, director Paul Schrader soon got a taste of her reputation. Right from the start, Lohan would regularly not bother showing up to meetings, so Schrader fired her. After some pleading, she was brought back into the fold. From there on, Lohan was under strict supervision. One day on set, a reporter was interviewing the cast. Lohan and her publicist didn't like this, so they asked to go out for lunch and drove them. As soon as the car stopped at a security gate, Lohan and her crew member made a break for it and ran away from Horn. Lohan then returned 15 minutes late after lunch, but no longer was she allowed off set during production. Sacha Baron Cohen has brought to life so many comedic characters. When a role as the iconic Queen frontman Freddie Mercury came up for a film, Cohen took it. Yet, as soon as the production began to take root, Cohen walked away from the biopic. He found out that Mercury was going to pass away halfway through the film, with the second half focusing on the remaining bandmates. Cohen felt that the film would miss out on a lot of high moments in Mercury's life. So, the project disappeared, never to be heard from again. Well, until Rami Malek came along and won an Oscar for his version of Freddie Mercury in 2019's Bohemian Rhapsody.